Hello, Taurus. Thank you so much for being here, you guys, and happy Valentine's Day to you. All right, Taurus, so I like what you're pulling here, especially considering the reading that you had last week. So from Lay Vampire, you pulled Call for Help. Reach out, need for backup, and admit your needs. And then from Chakra Wisdom, you pulled Joy, which is basically saying that once you reach out for this help, you will experience joy in your life. Now, Call for Help, this is about working with shielding techniques and protecting yourself. But one of the things that it says is remove untrustworthy people. Be cautious in your dealings. Lift your shields and stand with an ally and friend. Do not allow your innocence to create a dangerous moment for you. For someone is waiting for you to drop your guard. Do not let it be now. And, whoever it is that you're reaching out to, whether it's your angels, your guides, friends, people that are close to you, with Joy being there, it's a good sign that you're going to get the assistance that you need. And one of the things that I like about this card is it's closely related to the Fool. One of the things that it says is, this is the moment after the leap. You may not see where you are going, but you will land on your feet. And it's perfect. So once you reach out, here's your overall for the week. The Knight of Cups. What's that about? I like the Knight of Cups. I mean, I like the idea of somebody writing in and offering love and romance. But the problem with the Knight of Cups is his emotions are fickle. He just kind of goes wherever he's led by his emotions. But this could definitely be somebody coming through here offering you a connection, and it's whether or not you're going to accept an offer here. Possibly dealing with a person, possibly a water sign. The Knight of Cups is one of the few that, I look at as far as the pages and the knights as possibly a person. But really it's about what they're trying to offer you on an emotional level here. Now this could be you though too, in needing to follow where your heart is leading you and trust those emotions. But again, knights take energy to the extreme. So it's like needing to be careful about being led on, and being careful about not following through with things because emotions change all the time. But we'll see. We'll see how this Knight of Cups is playing out. Now, in the past, the Fool. So, what I'm getting off of just these two is in the past, I think you would have been willing here to just kind of take that leap in, again, Joy, right? Taking that leap of faith. Even though you don't know what's going to happen. But I think something changes here because I would have expected this to be future conditions or even in the present moment. But this is past, so I think that there may be a little bit of a hesitation here. But it's not a bad thing. It's just whether or not you feel comfortable in going after this. But the Fool as the past coming through can also suggest that you need a new path. You're needing to have a new experience here and needing to walk away from whatever has happened in the past, with that clean slate, the clean soul, right? Now, in the present, the Three of Pentacles. Now, with the Knight of Cups, I mean, yeah, we could be talking about work here and you getting an offer that, seems like it would be good for you on an emotional level. With the Three of Pentacles, though, too, it's working with others. If we're talking about work, clearly here you have a skill and it's about you showing that off, collaborating with others, being recognized for the work, but there's the need to work with somebody, right? And it's almost like hoping that you're going to be able to do this, but again, nothing is bad here. But I still feel a little bit of a hesitation. Future conditions, the Queen of Wands. Now, this could definitely be about somebody coming through that is offering you something here. And with the Queen of Wands, possibly looking at a fire sign. But then, I also get the feeling here that it's really about you moving into this place where there's more confidence. I feel like you're being built back up, especially with Joy being here. But the Queen of Wands, right? Super attractive, super fun, exciting and passionate, knows how to manage her shit. And I think that some of you are moving into this phase now, which is good, especially if we're talking about work. So for some of you, it could be getting a really good offer here and moving into like a management position, But as far as anything else goes, I feel like this is a good thing and you like needing to tap into this. But this could also be because of a person coming through here. Because one of the things with the wands, especially with the king and the queen, is there is attraction there. Usually when they show up, it signals that, there's somebody that there's like an attraction for, which is a possibility here with the Knight of Cups being there. But again, whatever the situation is, it looks good, Taurus, and you look like you're getting a little bit more confident in your ability to manage what is going on, and looking at call for help. This could be a person coming through and coming to the rescue almost, which is great. Your best path to follow, the Four of Pentacles. Now, if we're looking at the Three of Pentacles in the present moment, this can definitely suggest that there is a need for you to be a little bit more giving, and again, it kind of goes back to that feeling of a little bit of a hesitation. Now, the Four of Pentacles can definitely show that maybe you're holding on too tightly to something, but really it's about maintaining your stability and your status, and not wanting to give anything up. But the problem is that if you stay stuck in that area, nothing changes. But if you've worked hard to get to this stability, like I can understand why. Like, I'm not sharing this. This is mine, Like, I understand, but at the same time, like, I feel like there needs to be a little bit more flexibility, But again, once you start creating stability, it's one of those things where immediately it's like, I don't want to let this go, especially if it was really, worked hard for and fought for. But I do think that maybe there is a situation that, you're not willing to give on. And again, it's because you don't want to lose stability. Yeah, in your environment, the Seven of Wands. So if you're going to be willing to work with somebody here, they're going to know exactly how you feel and where you're standing. Now, for some of you, you may be a little bit defensive, and I can understand that. And again, looking at the Four of Pentacles, other than it being about Scrooge, it can really show that you're in a position now where there is this stability and possibly financial backing. So why would you want to give it up? And it's one of those things where if you have somebody coming in, it's like, look, right? So maybe a little bit defensive, but I think that you're getting to a spot now where it's easier for you to speak up, defending yourself, defending your position here, and not wanting to give it up with the Four of Pentacles. But I still feel like the advice here is that maybe there needs to be a little give, but certainly not to the point where you feel uncomfortable. I mean, you're getting to this place with the Queen of Wands where I feel like things are being like returned to you almost. But it feels good, and confident enough to be able to say what needs to be said. Now, as far as Taurus goes, I don't think that's ever been an issue for most Taurians that I know. Like, it's easy for you to be like, look, I'm not going to take any shit. But I still think that, if you have somebody that is wanting to work with you, maybe there needs to be a little bit of give. Okay. And again, it makes sense here. Now, with the Five of Pentacles being hopes and fears, if you have worked really hard to get to this point of stability, it makes sense that there would be a fear here that you're going to lose some stability. When you're looking at the Five of Pentacles, definitely it can suggest financial strain and being worried about that. This may be what you've been through before and not wanting to go back to this again. And if you had an offer coming through here with the Knight of Cups, with the Fool kicking this off, like, I still feel like you need a new path, but I feel like there's a lot of hesitation coming in through this. It takes an extreme amount of faith for you to just be able to leap here. But, again, looking at the Oracle cards, it's like once you let this in, I think that things are going to get easier for you. But, I'm looking at the Five of Pentacles and thinking it makes sense. Fearing the loss of stability. But again, right, like it has the potential to manifest as long as you're putting your focus on it. For some of you, like I said, you may have already been through this, but it doesn't mean that it has to happen again. Now we could be talking about rejection though too. But I think that, you're being pretty vocal about, how you're feeling here. And then the outcome, why? Why? The Four of Cups. So boredom, emotional stasis, being in a funk, not being emotionally involved. So, and again, like if you're getting to this place here with the Queen of Wands where you feel a little bit more confident in yourself and your ability to manifest what you want, then why should you take an offer? But I worry about you rejecting something that may be really good coming through, but only based on past experiences and having to work so hard to get to the stability and being fearful of losing it. But then at the same time, if it's not good enough, then yeah, definitely. I feel like, you feel confident in your ability to manifest something better for yourself. Absolutely. With the Magician coming through. And don't think that this has to do with manipulation. But here you are with the Hierophant, right? Taurus. There is a certain way of doing things. And I think that with the Seven of Pentacles, even though, you may be reevaluating things and looking at things a little bit differently, this is also about, reaping the harvest, right? There is a certain way of doing things that creates comfort for you. You may be seeing the results that you want. There may be a different way of doing things, but I don't think that there's a willingness right now because I feel like you're pretty confident in knowing what needs to be done, But still, I worry about you being stuck in the same situation if you're not willing to change. The Hierophant can be talking about commitments though too. But as your own energy coming through, I mean, doing things in the way that they're supposed to be done. And that is how you start to see the results. Even if it's slow going, I don't think that it's something that you're willing to change right now. And I think that there may be an offer that comes through that just, is not enough. It's not enough. You can do better. Like, I feel like you're more confident in yourself to do better. But let's take a look here at the soul trees and see what other messages there are. So information being downloaded here directly from source. It is too much of a risk right now, I think, for some of you to change anything. Because you're going through a rebirth here where I feel like, you've come out of some difficulties here. That's why you may be a little bit on the defense. And then again, looking at the Five of Pentacles and not wanting to go through that again, which is understandable. But you're getting information directly from source here with the crown chakra. The crown chakra is open. And I'm looking at the outcome and I feel like, you need to stick with what works for you and continue to go after this. There may be a period later on where you're kind of reevaluating things, but I don't think that you're willing right now to change anything up. And that's okay. Because again, with the Four of Pentacles, like I immediately felt hesitant on saying that, you have to let go. Like I can understand. But yeah, I think that it's too much of a risk. It's too much of a risk to change anything right now, and that's okay. But let's take a look at Whispers of Love and see what other messages there are. And then look to your inner strength. You are stronger than you realize. Damn straight. And it's beautiful. And yes, you always do have a choice, but it's important that, love is a part of what you're doing. I don't think that you need to accept any offer that's coming through that, is going to change things up for you. That's just a little bit too much right now. But as far as relationship goes, right, choose love, but look to your inner strength. Absolutely. And I feel like that's where the Queen of Wands is coming through. But I do feel like there's a need for you to kind of call out for help though too. And like I said, it doesn't have to be from people. It could just be from source here with the crown chakra. But what I do like is, eventually here, you're going to get to a place of joy. All right, Taurus, so there's kind of like a bittersweet feeling to this. Now, I do think that some of you have reached out for help here and you're finding joy in your life, which is great. And I do think that with the Fool as the past coming through, it's one of those things where you needed to take a new path. And, I feel like you've worked really hard to get where you're at right now. There may be a need here for you to kind of open up a little bit and be willing to work with people. But I think that what's coming through here, just isn't good enough looking at these two. It's like, that's great and all, but I can manifest something better than this. And I think it's because you've been through enough strain in difficult situations that you know better. And you certainly don't want to have this happen again. And it's like, I understand. Like, I get it. I mean, yeah, you do have choose love showing up, but not if it's going to create instability for you. Like, I felt like super hesitant about saying that you need to give a little bit. I think more so it's about, right now, maybe the best thing is to just maintain the stability that you have worked hard for, because I do think that you're getting to a place here where there's a little bit more confidence in your ability to say yes or no as far as accepting and rejecting offers, because you are coming in with like, look, right? This is what I want. This is where I stand. I'm not taking any more shit. I've had enough. And you're standing up for yourself and you're using your voice and you've had enough of the difficult times. And I really see this as, yes, you know how to manifest what you need. And there's no reason for you to take a risk here. And with you showing up with the Hierophant, like I said, there is a certain way of doing things. And you know what works for you. And I think with the Seven of Pentacles, there may be a little bit of a reassessment. But I think that this is one of the rare cases here where you may actually be seeing the results that you want. Even if it takes a little bit to get there, then so be it. Because you've been through enough difficulties. Like I said, this is like bittersweet. Now, again, risk. It's too much of a risk, especially if you're going through a rebirth, to change anything right now. And you're open here, though, to getting information directly from source, from the crown chakra. But as far as relationships go, maybe there is a need for you to, accept a little bit of love. But like, I get it. Like, I get why, you would be on the defense here, but look to your inner strength, right? Yes, you are stronger than you realize, but I do think that, in future conditions here, you are definitely realizing it. I want to tell you that, you may be like stuck, constantly feeling like you need to maintain the stability, but I think that you know what is working for you right now. And I do think that for some of you, you just need to stick to it. Because again, if it's too much of a risk, it's not worth doing. Because your happiness is what's more important.